Patty, it is Patty, and
Oh,
we are live
is it
with
recording?
Patty. He's so
As the best
handsome.
rapper, white rapper of all time once said, enough with the bullshit. Enough with the bullshit. Let's start State of the Pels. Bring the panel in.
Oh no, get it done. And on the spin and the reverse, the slam by Zion.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but I like it's new what you're telling me.
And get everybody in here. We got four of us again tonight. Last week it was just Dave and I. It feels like it's deja vu. Tonight we got Mr. Dylan with us. We got Chrissy with us again. It's the original four. It feels good to
We
have y'all
back,
back. How y'all?
baby.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, we back, but it's a little rough right now. It feels like deja vu, like I said. Dave and I last week wasn't so happy in our conversations. Coming off another rough loss. I think we're 6-4 in the last 10, seventh in the West right now. There's still a little bit of optimism to be had. But is it sad Pelican season? How are we feeling?
Mm. Mm.
Go ahead, Chrissy, since you got nice things to say.
It's sad right now. Yes. Like we lost two games a week apart to the Grizz. Morant's team hasn't lost since he came back. And then we lose in overtime tonight because we can't close close games. We're 0-6 when we have lost by 3 or more. That's a difference in the season right there. Don't even get me started on free throw shooting tonight either.
Is it time to hit the panic button though? I guess that's the first question, right?
Boom! Smash the panic button. Punch the panic button. Stone cold stunner the panic button. The people's elbow the panic button. And so on and so on and so on. Listen, come on, somebody, greatest move ever. I'm naturally a cool, calm, collected. It'll figure itself out. It takes time. It's process. But I said this to you guys, and I'm gonna say it to everybody that listens. You show me who you are once, I'm gonna say you just had a moment because we all have moments. We're human beings. You show me who you are twice, I'm gonna say you have a rhythm. That means you are in a rhythm of the consistency of doing the wrong things. Rhythms can be broken, and you could be someone else some other day. But you show me who you are 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I am going to have to come to the conclusion that that is your identity. And the identity of these Pelicans. Hey, there's two. Listen, Chrissy, you did it. I'm
That's the
proud of
only thing I
you.
know.
I'm proud of you. But the identity of this Pelicans team is this: it lacks the one fundamental quality that every championship team has had for the last however long you can think of. You ready for this? It's something simple, something that is often overlooked because we think we can just talent our way over it. IQ. IQ covers up a multitude of imperfections. Rajon Rondo covered up the multitude of imperfections that we had with DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis and sometimes Drew Holiday. But I'm going to calm down because we got a good 27 more minutes to go and I don't want to hog the mic. What are y'all feeling?
Chrissy, hop back in because I saw the
I
visceral like response.
Dylan, who are you saying is doesn't have the IQ? Because it's who? It's not the players on the court. It's not the players
So,
on the court.
so here's the thing. I'll answer your question because that's a great question, Chrissy. By the way, it's good to see you. Skin glowing, balling, doing your thing. Per use, work that up, do boo boo. Anyways, IQ is not who you are when things are calm. That's not IQ. I can give you multiplication if it's the simple things that I learned in elementary school. But if you ask me something that is extremely advanced, but I'm operating in the field that asks for me to operate with extremely advanced math, and I can't answer the question, that means I have low IQ in math because it
Okay, but
asks for me to be
who?
that person.
Who isn't answering
I
the math
got you.
question?
Okay, simple. One,
Woo, woo.
Willie Green. It's not answering the math question. We can go
It's
top down.
not.
I can keep going. Two, Zion Williamson. And I've been fighting for my life on Twitter with Zion Williamson right now. There's been a dude on Twitter, I'm not going to give him the light today, because he's not going to get some follows off of us. But he's been going back and forth with me for about a week. So much so that I've just given him the I'm good, love, enjoy treatment at this point. He's been going back and forth. Zion is not that dude. I'm like, nah, this is really. I'm watching Zion. This is what IQ is, Chrissy. Sit down with me, Sister Chrissy. Let me tell you. IQ is saying, I am a all-world athlete. I'm a one of one, and there's not really anything you could do with me. Either I'm going to turn the ball over, or I'm going to score, or you're going to foul me. If I turn the ball over, I like my chances with us getting a stop and me going again and again and again. But I'm also well adept enough to know that I got Trey Murphy in one corner and I could put CJ in the other. Guess what IQ says right there, Chrissy? Guess what? IQ says it's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We just lost a game this same way a week ago. I'm not letting it happen tonight because I am able to regurgitate the information that happened a week ago, and now I'm going to step in and make something change. That's IQ.
Okay.
Brandon Ingram. Hold on. I'm not done. You asked me a question. It was a question, Your Honor. It was a question.
Jeez.
Second, Brandon Ingram. Everybody else is frozen but Patty. It's just me and you, Patty, so I'm talking to you at this point. Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram went to the same spot on the floor 5 times straight. And guess what he did 5 times straight? Stopped. That's it. He just stopped.
Just like
You're waiting for me to give.
He just stopped. Right?
You're waiting for me to give you some deep. And now, no, he stopped, looked, and one time he threw the ball to Zion, and then the next time he threw the ball out of bounds. And then I can keep going if you want, because it's not just it's persons that lack the necessary IQ to be able to operate in high tense moments. It's not who you are when things are calm that show me that you got a great IQ. It's who you show me to be when the fire gets hot. I need to stop talking. I've been talking the whole 7 minutes.
So I'll say I did notice the same thing down the end of that stretch. It didn't seem like the ball was moving. I forget who tweeted it. Somebody tweeted it out that the ball was just sticking. It was a lot of ISO ball, and you could tell they went point Zion a lot at the end of the game. And all I was thinking this whole time was Chrissy would hate this because it was ugly. It didn't work. It looked like the guys playing with him didn't know where to be. And I'm going to point right back at what you just said about BI, about he just ran to the same spot every time and just stopped. To me, that says, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to just go right here because I'm comfortable here. Hopefully I'm out of the way. I'm going to just see what he does, and then I'm going to react to it. And that's kind of the perception I had of everybody on the floor to close out that fourth quarter. Now, there's some other things that happened which I'm not happy about, but that's where I am. Dave, you haven't said a word yet. I'm gonna toss the mic to you, and then you can talk to whatever you want.
Listen, I'm letting Dylan cook. Dylan and Chrissy going back
to forth. I'm ready
to cook. Let me cook Dylan real quick.
Hold on. You're frozen. First off, at least fix your camera if you're going to cook.
I can see y'all.
I was also wondering if Dylan put the fireplace on just to set up that line about when the fire gets hot. He had that whole thing planned.
You're my bro. That's why you're my bro. That's why you're the guy.
Whole thing.
My only response to that, I guess my only question is, you talking about the players having IQ. Where's your feeling on the coach having IQ? Or are we getting into that conversation a little bit later?
Oh, no, that conversation's happening right now. Let me tell you something right now. All right, so BI, he didn't take big-time shots. Do you know why? In the other close games, he has taken big shots and he has missed every time. He has no confidence. He's like, who is going to step up now? Because I don't trust myself to do it, and I don't want to mess things up for y'all, okay? That's number one. That's BI right now. Number two, Dylan, you said when we're in the fire, who's going to step up? Guess what? Nobody knows because there's 2 million different lineups going on right now. The Pelicans' problem, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season, the Pelicans are too deep. And Willie doesn't know what to do with it right now. And Willie is playing, let's be fair with all of y'all's playing time, instead of let's win games. Instead of saying who's the best, 5, 6, 7, 8 that need to be out there, he's like, hey, I want y'all all on the floor. It's not working. I understand when you have this much talent, but we are too talented to not be much higher up in the standings, to not have a better record, to not be closing out games when we're already winning. That is the issue I see right now. And I hate to say that, but it is on Willie because I'm a fan of his. But right now he's got to figure out what to do with this very deep bench that he has. And he has not figured it out. So nobody knows who's supposed to be closing stuff out. And nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing in the final few minutes of a close game.
Well said.
That's-
You win.
All right. I'll see you next week.
You win. Listen, I have no rebuttal for that because I started with Willie. I mean, I am I said off the air, I think this team needs Coach Stan Van Gundy. And y'all are all like, oh, what? You're insane. Don't go that far. If you look at who Stan Van Gundy is, Stan Van Gundy was not good for that iteration of the Pelicans because they were too young to be held accountable. And they got away with their youth. And everybody was like, okay, let's just warp things around the youth. We want to keep Zion happy and we want to do all. And so they didn't like it, But now that they're older and that Griff is kind of pushing buttons like, nah, like it's my job is starting to get on the line. So I need y'all to get right. This would have been the perfect time to have Stan Van Gundy as your coach because he would have been saying certain words to certain individuals that would have either made them run out the room or step up. And Larry Nance told us in an interview, he said Zion responds well to being yelled at. Trey Murphy does not respond well to being yelled at. I don't know what SVG would have done with Trey Murphy, but I do need him for Zion. Brandon Ingram, same thing. So I just feel like I agree with you there. I'm not going to give you any rebuttal on that. I'm going to throw another question to you because I have ulterior motives. Are we excited about the Jose Najee minutes that we're seeing off the bench with how many games in are we? Are we excited? It looked good to start, but where are we at now with those minutes? Do we still love them? Do we still want to see them? Where are you guys at with it? Let me hear from you, Dave. Where are you at with the Jose and Najee minutes?
I ain't excited about the team in general. So no, I'm not excited about the Jose and Najee minute. It's like what is working right now? Like I can't. There ain't no positives for me to take away from this last week. I'm trying not to be negative. I don't want to be the negative, like the all negative podcast. But when you don't give me something positive to talk about, like this is what I got for you. Like I've been kind of questioning the Jose minutes for a little while now. I think there's a place for Jose in certain matchups, and I think we've kind of talked about this before. I don't think he's playable every game. Is all it is. I think there's times where it just needs to be Dyson, and that it is what it is. Like there's not a big difference between the two of them offensively, if you ask me. Like Jose can get hot, right, and maybe have a game here or there, but consistently there ain't enough difference for me to want to put Jose over Dyson as much as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think that speaks to Dyson's growth offensively. Because last year, if you'd have said that, I would have laughed. I would have said, "Ain't no way." I think the question though, and the way I'm perceiving it, it has a lot to do with Jose and Najee combined, right? It's when the both of them are on the floor a lot. It's just one of them that needs to not be on the floor. I'll be completely honest with you. And if you're choosing Jose, fine. You know me. I'm a Jose stan, so I'm a ride and die with that dude. Najee could sit down. I love Najee too, but Najee could sit down. You can spread those minutes around the shooters if you want to. Just try some different things out, and you know what shooter I'm talking about. I don't have to say it, but that's kind of where I'm at. Chrissy, what are you thinking?
Sorry, I muted, didn't know how to mute. So I agree. I don't think that look, this is what we're saying. Like, not everybody has to play every game. I know we haven't liked Jordan Hawkins missing minutes, but like you can't have okay, I'm gonna just say it this way. In college, I was a three-point shooter. Period. So when we were down, we needed some big shots. Guess who they put in the game? Me. I was not great at ball handling. So if they're pressing us, I'm sitting on that bench, and that's what I'm doing. So we have to come up with a best lineup per scenario and per team what we're doing. And so sometimes that shouldn't be Jose. I think the fans love Jose. So Willie's like, let's put Jose in the game, and that's great. But I don't think that's not winning us games right now.
I love that, but you can't coach for fans. Like that you'll lose your job. You'll lose your job every time.
Yes. Go, Dylan.
That's a bar right there. That's a bar. You just said what I don't think he coaches for fan. I think he coaches for players. He's too much of a players coach. Like you have certain guys who are a players coach who are like, I want to be at when your kids are born. I want to be at all the family. But then you have guys who like you can see it in their eyes that like if you given them something in the past, they're just gonna ride with you no matter what. Like y'all know why I brought the question up. I don't know what that is playing behind me. I probably should turn my TV off because some chaos going on behind me. That
The
would have been
fire's out. We lost
copyrighted
it.
right there.
The
There
fire's
it
out.
is.
Chrissy put the fire out. Okay,
There you
Dylan?
go. You did. You did. You did. You did. Do better. All right. But anyway, I I just cannot wrap my mind around this ideal that you have a healthy Zion, you have a healthy Trey Murphy, and we have not gotten the Zion, Trey Murphy, Jordan Hawkins, Dyson, or Herb, whoever you want, line up more. Like, th- it just doesn't make sense to me. Dave, you said something. You were like, "Give me something positive to talk about, and I'll talk about it." This is the one positive scheme I've seen the Pels run, and it has been unstoppable. It is when they run. It's Trey, Zion, JV, and then they put Brandon in the corner and CJ in the other corner. And what they run is they run a ghost pick for from Trey to Zion, and then a flare screen for Trey coming off of JV, and it works every time because it's putting our best shooter in motion, and it's scaring people with our best attacking player, Zion getting a screen and going to the rack. It's worked so much, but guess what? They get bored with it. It's like, dude, like I sometimes winning is boring. To and I think we need to be okay with boring. Like you think the San Antonio Spurs when they had Tim Duncan and David Robertson and Sean Elliott and Avery, they won a championship with a backcourt of Avery Johnson. I love him, Southern University legend, and Sean Elliott. After he'd had surgery and had, I think, another kidney given to him or something like that, they won a championship with that. Why? Because they all committed to boring. We're going to play boring basketball. We can keep going. Golden State Warriors, I'm sure they got numb to all the 3 pointers they were hitting. Because you've seen Steph Curry hit one, you've seen him hit 1,000. But they became okay with being bored. I just feel like we are just not a team that's okay with being consistently great at something. We have to egg on what Chrissy said about us being too deep. We have to elevate the next toy for everybody to feel good. Like if Zion's going, okay, cool, we got Zion going. Let's go away from that now. Let's get Brandon Ingram going. No,
Right.
no, get the ball to side. Brandon Ingram's going, okay, cool. Now let's get Zion going. No, okay, CJ McCollum, he don't even need you. Don't that man just starts to get himself going. He is. I don't know which one of y'all I was arguing with about point guard. Dave, I know it wasn't you because me and you been on the same wavelength. I think it might have been Chrissy because we argue about a lot on this show. CJ is not a point guard in any stretch of the imagination. And I'm tired of this experiment. I want off of this train. Get me off of this Ferris wheel. I need out of this fair now because it's ticking me off. I don't know what the question was. I just got a lot built up because I missed the last show. I'm sorry.
But just to add to that, whoever is hot, Jonas has been insane this year. Why do we ever go away from him? It should be let him dominate until the defense finally figures out what to do, and then we go to somebody else. This man has literally crushed it. I mean, it blows my mind, and we're not going to him. It's too easy sometimes for him in the paint. And like you talk about boring, and it's like it can be boring because it's so easy for him. And yet we want, some spectacular like alley-oop dunk to Zion. Why? Why do we need that? We need points, and that's all I care about. I don't care how they come from. I don't care who they come from.
No, I agree. And I think the best point that was made, somebody echoing. Hold on. Oh, it's Chrissy. It's Chrissy. Here we go. I think the best point that was made, and I'm going to circle back to it, is sometimes winning is boring. Like if you watch the greats, even outside of basketball, even in football, sometimes You watch people run the same play or the same set over and over and over and over, and they win. And as a fan on the other side, it is so frustrating because you'll be screaming at the TV sometimes, like, you know it's coming. You can't stop it when you're that good, even if it's boring. You can't stop it. If it's working, go with it. And I agree with JV. JV's been dominant. The one gripe I have about JV, really ever, other than sometimes if he's like left out too long, he'll get a little pouty. He rushes shots sometimes. That's the only thing. And I hate to be. I guess I'm being negative for whatever reason. That's the one thing that I see that I don't like about his game is he rushes some putbacks or he'll rush some things, and I'm like, man, just go to work, just go to work. But other than that, yeah.
Hey, I rush shots too when I think I'm about to be pulled out of the game. You know, I'm like, let me hurry up and get extra in here. But no, I agree.
That's fair.
Oh,
What's
Dylan,
going
what
on? My
happened?
light. Hold on one second. I'm having
Christmas
lighting.
tree, really.
It's every time it's
Hey.
Chrissy. It's Chrissy's fault. I blame Chrissy.
All right, I gotta go, and good night, everybody.
So I've been
Much.
trying to think about different takes I've seen on Twitter and bring them up. And one thing that made me think of a question. You mentioned CJ. What do you do about the CJ point guard situation? Because I saw Schmidt tweet kind of the other day. You know what I'm talking about? He said that Russell Westbrook would be a good fit for this team on the bench.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily think you need Russell Westbrook. I think what he's trying to say is you need that facilitator, and you kind of have someone in that mold in Dyson, right? It's a similar type of mold, not to that extent. He's not as good. Who's as good of a facilitator as Russ? Like he's
On our team
you know what I'm
now,
trying to say?
I get what
Yeah.
you're trying to say. I just think Dyson lacks this team doesn't need just any point guard. I think more what Shamit was talking about. Sorry if I said his name wrong. Sorry. Huge fan of yours, by the way. I think more so what he was talking about was like the IQ Russ brings to the game, the intentionality Russ brings to the game, and the aggression Russ brings to the game, and the leadership. It was less about who Russ is as a player and more about who Russ is as a leader and overall person for this team. Dyson, yes, he can do those things. And Chrissy, maybe you could help me out here, but I feel like if I'm and this is I'm not advocating for anything, but I'm advocating for something all at the same time. There's a certain name that just came up in Atlanta that said that they're shopping this certain individual, last name Murray. He'd be perfect in New Orleans. I just think he would be perfect with this team because he has that championship pedigree. I think he won one in San Antonio. I could be wrong. You guys correct me. I'm almost certain because I think he won one on the back end with that Tony Parker era. I think so. And he has that equity. He's a dog. Patty, you're looking like you're not feeling it. What are you thinking?
I think it's something about his character. I just don't really care for DeJounte Murray in general. Like I've seen things. I don't know how well he would mesh with the team, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like it feels ugly. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I agree with the Russ thing or somebody like Russ. I think the words that come to mind for me is you need like a floor general. You need somebody who's gonna like they're gonna look at Zion and be like, yo, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to be right here, right now. And the same with everybody else. Like they're gonna put people in position, even if it's like, yo, you're gonna get right here, and then I'm gonna give you the ball, and then you're gonna do this. Like it's just telling them, like, yo, stop effing around. This is what we're doing. And you don't really have that. Like, yeah, CJ can handle the ball, but he's not gonna yell at somebody and tell them where to be. He's more of like, as we've all seen, and it comes across as a bad word, but he's more of like the passive aggressive, like he's gonna throw shade afterwards. So yeah, I think that's what you need. Chrissy, I'll let you hop in because I think we skipped. Or Dave, you can go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to clarify like what my original question was because I didn't word it out what I wanted to say. I think we all kind of agree of what we need, which is Russell Westbrook type. And my question, I guess, was, do we have somebody on the roster currently that can do that, or do you have to look elsewhere? And y'all have kind of answered it without me wording it that way, but I wanted to just clarify it. So, Chrissy, go ahead.
Well, I'll say this. When I'm watching every game, I only see the team on the court huddle up when Herb is on the court. I see him pull everybody together. Okay, let's talk about this. I don't see that with CJ. I'm going to tell you that is an important thing to be doing on the court. What is our game plan? What are we doing next? Like, just like you're saying, Patrick, like, okay, if I'm here and you're here, I'm going to pass you the ball, then we're going to do this. And I see Herb doing that. And he's so young to be doing that. I don't see that with CJ. I know that he is a leader, but I do agree that he's more of a leader after the fact. Like, oh, the game's over. Let's break it down and talk about it. And I think Herb is seeing things while we're on the court. I'm saying we because I'm clearly on the court with them, and this is me out there with them. But I see Herb in the moment saying, "Hey guys, this is after this free throw. This is exactly what we're doing." So we don't have a Westbrook type out there, but I could see him being a good fit for us because I think he'll get in your grill in the moment, and then he'll talk to you after. But I don't know if we quite have that. Herb might be a little bit too young to be there right now. He's definitely stepping up. And he's been huge, as we've seen, like since he's been healthy and come back, like how the team has done. But I don't know if we have all of it together.
I think it's bigger than just getting in your face because Jose does that. Jose will talk trash to anybody and everybody, and he'll call you out. Like we saw Jose call Brandon Ingram out during a press conference. I think it's bigger than that. I think it's somebody who can give you Jose and Herb together. Herb is like, he's not going to call you out. Herb is like the lunch pail guy. Like, he's showing up to do his job. He's Kawhi Leonard type. Like, I'm not really here for the craziness. I just, I'm clocking in. I'm going to wear with the free clothes I'm gonna wear the free clothes to the arena. I'm not wearing no Gucci. I don't wear chains. That's who he is. And so you just need, and I've been saying this, and people, I just feel like that is our missing link, is a high IQ point guard that is no nonsense. And I think once we have that, I don't know what it'll do for Brandon Ingram because I don't really know. I mean, we got to see a little bit of that when he had LeBron right before he got traded. It was tough for him to start, but at the end, right before he got traded, he was averaging like 24 points with LeBron. Also punching Chris Paul in the face. It was a great time. And so, you have that. But then, I know for Zion to have that person at his house that's like, nah, like you trying to win. Like, if he had a Rajon Rondo, I keep saying this name, y'all. If Zion had a Rajon Rondo, I think we would see a totally different Zion because we saw a totally different Anthony Davis. We saw a totally different DeMarcus Cousins. We saw a totally different Drew Holiday. Drew had the whole Portland team on Pelican Bay by himself, and he was giving them 40, 30. So I just feel like, in my estimation, just to echo what you said, that question, Dave, just to circle it all the way back around, because I know we got another segment to get to, the Streets is Talking segment. But in my, I'm plugging it out the gate. But I really feel like we have like people who can do parts of what we need one person to do, right? Like we have Jose who will call you out, but he can't really, facilitate like that. And then you've got Herb, who is the consummate professional. So it's like, if we could just mesh them into one person, that would be the perfect point guard, in my opinion, for the Pelicans, that is.
I think just
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead.
Just to say really quickly, that is the coach's job to say, hey, you are this fit, you are that fit, you are this personality. Let me put who I need on the court together. And that's the job of Willie to say, I know you all well enough now. I've been here long enough. And let's put the best matchup on the court depending on what we need. So these guys are all right in their own talents and what they bring to the table. That is up to Willie to put them all together in the right timing to close out and win games.
Can we be real here? I just thought of something. It's kind of the elephant in the room we're all avoiding or we're not talking about. It should be BI or Zion. Like it should be. That should be one of the guys it is. So, and this is a whole nother topic, maybe we can get into it later. Like when do you have that conversation to where it's like, okay, these two stars aren't stepping up in areas we would like them to step up?
Why shouldn't it be CJ?
Well,
like he was that not what he is that not what he was brought in for?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question without sounding like a hater or disrespectful.
No, let it fly, Dave.
What does he bring to the team? I'm gonna be like, really? What does
Hey,
he
Dave,
bring to this
do
team?
me a favor. Pick up your mic and drop it right now.
Like,
Because that is the greatest question of all
Okay.
time.
Okay.
like you said, I'm trying not like I mean it in the most respectful way possible, and I know that I'm a CJ hater, but
No,
you
that's
just
a good question.
you just said that
No.
he'll criticize after the case, right? Why can't he do that in the game, or
But
when it's in the moment, or
okay,
like he doesn't hit the big shots. We've seen him miss those. He can't hit free throws when the game's on the line. He doesn't. He's not the I don't know. Like everything he feels like he was brought here to be. Like it's not what I was expecting. I guess is the only way to put it. And if you were brought here to be the leader, be the leader on and off the court, not after the fact. Like I don't go ahead, Patty, because I'm gonna just keep rambling. So you go ahead.
Nah, I think Chrissy wanted to
Preach.
say it
He
too,
preaching.
but
Come on, preach, Reverend. Preach.
What the
Listen.
hell is that?
That's a
Listen.
tambourine. Take you to an old school church. He preaching. Preach, brother. You better preach.
Are we done? Are we done?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen to me, man. What was he brought here to do? If you expected him to come here and be like the point guard or whatever, like he was not brought here to
No.
do that. He is doing exactly what he was brought here to do. There's a reason he's been in the league for as long as he's been in the league. He was brought here to show these
Because of
young
man.
guys how to take care of their bodies, how to be a pro, how to, in a sense, lead. Like everybody leads in different ways, right? And aside from that, the dude can score. Like he can get a bucket whenever he wants. Now, does he finish? Maybe not. And by finish, I mean at the end of the game, does he close? Is probably the best question. Maybe not. I think at worst, he's a phenomenal sixth man. Like if we're ready to have that conversation,
I'm
Deal.
with that.
fine.
Yes,
Deal.
let's do it.
Deal.
Right. Let's do it.
oh no. Okay, I have too many things to say right now. All right. I think CJ does what his coach tells him to do. So when it is like, hey, BI's taking the last shot, CJ's like, all right, let me give you the pass for that. That's what's going to happen. CJ is a leader. You guys, we are not in there day in and day out. We don't know if CJ says up to them on the bench in the middle of the game. Like, I'm not seeing them huddle up, but we don't know all that he does. So we can't say he's not a leader on and off the court with that. But I think that once again, Willie is saying, BI, you're taking the last shot. And I think tonight was a perfect example where I don't think Willie knew who should be taking the last shot. But I don't think that CJ is not a six man, please. Let's just
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I just say, why not? He's 30. He's
Listen.
30. What? 32. About to be
Yes.
33. Like
Making a whole lot of money.
he's
What?
airballing shots at the end of the games
Wait.
every now and then.
I want
he could just be.
to
fine.
ask Chrissy. Why is he not a sixth man? Let's hear that and like open my eyes. I just want to understand.
Okay, so we have 5 guys on the starting lineup, not CJ. He's coming off the bench. Who's leading the team to start the game? Who is your leader out there?
Well, Trey immediately gets thrown into the starting lineup.
You said Herb. You just not that
I
now
said
that
he has
you
been
can't
stepping up. Yes,
you can't bring
there's
that. You
no
can't
way.
say that, Chrissy. It doesn't
No, Alex,
work.
I would
Are
not replace CJ with Herb. There's no way I
Are
would
you
swap those
asking-
two. I would not. I wouldn't put.
Are you
I wouldn't
asking
say, hey,
who's-
we're benching CJ for Herb. No way. Start the game.
Are you asking who's the leader from like a leader perspective or from a point guard perspective?
From a leader perspective, he is literally the top veteran on the team. You have to have one on your team. It's like having a senior and you've got all freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. You have to have that senior on the team, period.
You
He's
have
the
JV
senior
out
on the
there.
team. Who?
You have JV. He's a vet.
He's not the same. He can only speak so much English. Like he's not the exact same with them. He's not fluent without. It's not the same. It's not.
Listen, Chrissy, I just got a question for you, and I'm gonna toss it back to you. Do you think CJ would infuse the second unit?
That's a good question. I feel like he would, honestly. I feel like he would. I'm just going to say from my perspective, okay, for me as a player, that if I'm standing in the corner and I've got my senior point guard up at the 3-point line, and they've got a couple of options of who to pass to, and they pass to me in the corner, and I shoot that corner three, I have more confidence hitting that three than if I've got someone from on the block who's in trouble and just throws it out to me. Because I know that.
Can I ask you a
knows.
question?
Okay.
I'm just because that was a great point you just made. So, do you think that your senior point guard should be playing with the bench guys because they would feel extremely confident that the senior point guard passed them that pass?
Yes, I do. And I feel like personally that is a lineup issue with Willie, that he needs to have a veteran out there with the young guys to spark confidence with them. Because I know for me, even now when I go play pickup and it's just I'm the only girl and it's all the guys out there, you got one or two guys that actually know what they're doing out there. When they kick it to me and I'm like, wow, you just passed me the ball, I have so much more confidence to do whatever I'm about to do, rather than when some dude is in the lane and has got 5 guys on him, doesn't know what he's about to do, and he's going to travel. So he randomly passes it to me. I don't feel confident about that. I'm like, all right, that was your last choice. So those are the lineup issues that I feel like I'm seeing with Willie. I feel like that is the biggest issue.
It feels like you're assuming that there's going to be a major drop off in the way offense is played if CJ moves from the starting lineup to the bench. Is kind of what I'm hearing. Like it feels like there's going to be a major confidence drop.
Only because I feel like we have enough still young guys in that starting lineup that CJ brings some kind of security there with it.
Can I ask another question to you, Chrissy? At what point are you no longer considered a young guy?
I think it takes a long time.
Way. Like, when do we just throw someone to the fire and expect that growth? Like, because if you move CJ to the bench, someone has to grow. Either way, what's happening is not working. So we got to change something.
I also
agree with that. I also think it might just be like, hey, let's just see what happens. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like we have someone who should, but I still put it back on Willie, honestly. But I totally see your point on that. And we could just say, hey, put you out there and let me see if you can fly.
I also think we're getting bogged down in the idea of being a starter again, where like I think it's more so I think he could benefit from 6-man minutes. Like he's an older player, right? Like we've seen it. He's not a guy that airballs shots. When he airballs a three at the end of the game, it's because he's tired. Like that's really the only reason. He doesn't miss shots like that. He may miss shots, but it's not like that. And it happened a couple times, right? Like I think you could keep him as a starter if that's the problem. Like if it's a confidence thing, could you take him out the starting lineup? Let him start. But get the younger guys minutes and just let him save him. If you want him to close, save him his minutes to the end of the game, right? Because we've said it in the past. I know Dylan agrees. The closers matter more than the starters. Like if whoever you want to start, let him start. Like whatever.
And Dave, you're making a good point because that is something that even I've said, which is Willie's trying to give everyone so much equal playing time. And you're right. I could definitely see, let's start Trey over CJ and let's see what happens at the beginning of the game. So I'm not opposed to that whatsoever. And I agree with you. Like somebody's got to start minutes because what we're doing isn't working.
Yeah. I wrote this. I noted this topic down in my notes when I told y'all I want to start doing little separate videos. I wrote this down because it feels like one that can be its own conversation. So we can keep this rolling.
Yeah, let's get back on topic though. I feel like I pushed it off the rails here, and we've talked for 20 minutes now on starting lineups as opposed to finishing, which finishing was the problem tonight. No, it's my fault. I started asking questions.
I'll take the blame. I threw CJ under the bus.
We dove in, which is good. It was a good conversation. We did have another segment, and then I want to close it out because I don't like it going an hour. Streets is Talking. That's a new thing we're doing. We started with it last week. We're going to keep it rolling this week. Streets is Talking. Somebody said this is a season derailing loss. Did I hear that right? What do we think?
Chrissy, what do you think?
It's not a season derailing. Like it's still early enough. Okay, look, this is where it's derailing. Okay. If Willie does not ever come to terms with like what the lineup needs to be. Yeah, if we're gonna do this all season, then sure. I mean, hey, enjoy your participation trophy with all the minutes that you played watching from the couch at your home, okay? Because that's what we're gonna do. But it's not derailing if I don't know who it needs to be, but somebody's got to wake Willie up and say, hey, we have a team. We're very deep. Who are we going to play? Who is the best out there? I don't care if you hurt feelings. Like this, the NBA is not about your feelings. Get over that. The NBA is about winning. And are we going to go to the playoffs? And are we going to possibly win a championship? That's what it comes down to.
Let me respond, Dylan, because I think you might have might alter what you say a little bit. It's not season derailing. That's the wrong term. It's eye opening. It's an eye opening loss, is what it is, because it opened your eyes to everything Chrissy just said. And if it doesn't open your eyes, specifically Willie, if it doesn't open his eyes to all of this, then there's a bigger issue at hand. It's a loss that makes you have to take a step back, look at everything, and be like, what we're doing ain't working. We've got 14 losses, and 9 of them have been blown double-digit leads. So something ain't working. Let's figure it out. I don't think season derailing because it's too early. It is too early. It's before the All-Star break. But it is eye-opening where you're like, hey, do we need to make, even from a sense of, do we need to make moves? Do we have things that, do these players work? Do we need to make moves to get players that do work? Do we need to make lineup changes? All of these different things. Things that probably should have been happening already. Thoughts that should have been happening already. But if this loss and last week's loss, to be fair, don't make you start thinking about those things, then there's an issue.
I think so. Let's define derailing, and I'm not trying to get in the weeds here. Derailing is when something goes off tracks, right? But can it go back on tracks, or is it just done? No, it derailed. When you get a train off the track, you have the opportunity to get it back on the track. I think for this iteration, it is a derailing loss because you've lost the same way twice. You cannot keep going the same way and expect different results. Isn't that, what is the word? Insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It gets to a point where it's mental, guys. We have to realize this. When you start doing things so many times, and when you get to a certain point in doing that, you have had a bad moment with it, your brain starts to think of, oh shoot, what if that bad thing happens again right now? Because that bad thing has happened 3, 4, 5 times in a row. What if it happens again? And you clam up and you're like thinking about it, and now you forgot. I think personally at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if the whole team doesn't start to get tense at the 5-minute mark in the fourth now. Because at that point, it has happened to them time and time again where they've let go of the rope. Now it's mental. You got Zion hiding in the dunker spot behind the shooter. You couldn't even pass him the ball if you wanted to. Because there's a defender standing in front of him and on side of him. And I just feel like for this current iteration of what we're trying to accomplish, yes, it is derailing. Is the season over? Now, he didn't say it's a season crashing loss. Like the season is over. He didn't say that. He said it's derails. And I know I'm trying to help this cause right now. If you're watching this, brother, this one was for you. I think it derails what we currently have. And I think it's time for us to fix the train before we put it back on the tracks. Because if we try and put it back on the tracks as is, we're going to get derailed again. That's just my take.
Oh, my goodness. You ever live by railroad tracks?
Yes, it's the
Anybody?
worst thing in the world.
Anybody?
I did.
I grew up
did.
by railroad tracks.
Part of my job is dealing with railroad tracks.
There you go.
I lived on them.
I grew up by railroad tracks.
Derails specifically.
Yeah, and I have seen a train derailment, and let me tell you, putting that train back on the tracks is a heavy lift. That's where I'm getting with this. Hell no, this is not a season derailing loss, but it is a season altering loss. And to your point, Dylan, I'm gonna use a fun sports term. It does start to give players a case of the yips, right? I don't know if you know what the yips are, but they're a hell of a man. That'll mess your whole mindset up. And once you're there, it's hard to get out of it. Anybody that's watched Ted Lasso, you got to go see a shrink now to figure it out. It's tough, man. It's tough to overcome. No, it's not season derailing. I mean, they're 7th in the West, and the West is deep. they've shown they can beat good teams. They've had some bad losses, and that's where I start to worry about what that does to their mindset. You saw with Ben Simmons. I mean, once he was broken, right? You've seen a few guys go down that track, so you got to figure it out. And I'm going to go back to what Chrissy's been saying all night. She's been saying the quiet part out loud. Willie Green got to get his shit together. Like, it is what it is. I love the guy. I also love Monty Williams. Monty Williams ain't coaching very well right now either. Like, you got to figure some things out. Yeah, that's it. I don't need to spread too much more thoughts on that. It is what it is. Y'all want to close this thing out, or we got other thoughts?
That's all I got.
Prayers up for the Pistons fans. Anyway, I should have left that for something else because you brought up Monty. My goodness.
Well, we'll get to our closing segment too. Our closing segment, which we always do now. We're gonna do this every show. Is just any thoughts, any closing thoughts we have. Doesn't have to be Pelicans related. Could be anything, life, sports, whatever you want. Anybody got something they want to start with? Go ahead.
January is National Blood Donor Awareness Month. So if you have a family member that you know needs blood or something, or you just want to be generous, go and support. There's so many people that are waiting for you to get off your butt and go and help them stay alive. So much love to the people who are already doing it. Appreciate you for doing it. That's my thing.
Hell yeah. What else?
I don't know how to
I'll
follow
go.
that. Go ahead.
mean, I love it personally. All right, I'll do mine. It's gonna sound a little funny coming out of my mouth because of what I look like, but representation matters. That's my first thought, and this literally just hit me. I don't know if y'all saw my tweet tonight. I was watching the Pelicans game with my daughter, and she was all into it, and she got kind of upset at one point. And she says, "Daddy, I wish they had a girls basketball league." And I was like, well, baby, they do. And when I tell you, her eyes lit up, like she was so excited. She wanted to hear all about it. We started talking through all the teams. She wants to see all the logos. She picked her favorite team. She's an Aces fan. Great time to be an Aces
Hold
fan.
on. Patty, I saw that tweet. Let me say something to that. I will buy your daughter, and this is me being honest. I saw that your daughter wants to be an Aces fan. I'm an avid WNBA fan. Shout out to you for wearing the hoodie real quick. I will buy your daughter floor seats to the next time the New York Liberty go to Atlanta to try and sway her to become a Liberty fan. I just wanted to drop that in there. I'm serious. I will buy her floor seats so that she can watch the magician known as Sabrina Ionescu work. That's all I
Floor seat, you speak in his language.
He lives there anyway.
He was like, if you ain't talking floor seats, I ain't going.
I do travel to Atlanta quite a bit, so we might be able to make this work. That's it. I did purposely wear this too, because I knew I was going to talk about this tonight. I actually threw it on right before, and Chrissy called me out. She's like, "Did you put on a hoodie too?" She thought I was trying to rip off Dave because he threw one on. I see you got one on too, Dylan. So it looks like we all kind of had the same little thought.
I missed out. I missed the memo.
And what else we got? Anybody else got anything cool?
I can add to that and just say quickly, as a woman who played college basketball, I was homeschooled my whole life, walked on and ended up playing. It's a huge honor. And seeing what like some of these women are doing nowadays at LSU and Caitlin Clark and all, it's pretty cool because it definitely wasn't like that when I was playing. So thank you to everybody that, just appreciates it. And we can't do the dunks and all like the men, but we can get out there and hoop, and appreciate y'all for acknowledging it for sure.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Mine's not about women's sports in any way, but Patty, you said something last week. I don't know if it was on here or who effing knows, but we were talking about the holidays and Christmas, and you said that everybody should take a step back and just kind of enjoy their time with their family. And be honest with you, man, that kind of stuck with me over the holidays. As y'all know, I've been stuck at work a lot lately, and just the half a day I had to spend with them, I took a step back and tried to just embrace who I was with in the moment, more so than what was going on. Just embrace who was there, because next year the same people may not be there, right? So I think as these holidays go by, I think everybody should just take some time listen to Patty, take a step back, appreciate who you're getting to spend your time with, and yeah, that's all. I wanted to let you know that it stuck with me over the last week. Made me feel good.
Feels nice, man.
That is
I
so
love to hear
sweet.
it. I love to hear it. See that we close this out on a positive note, man. We had all this. This is like a roller coaster, man. We went through it together, and now we're here. What a fun ride. That's it. Until next week. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you soon. Adios.